Let's talk about 5 years. Just 5. From 1 to 5 AD. Now, at first glance, you're not going to find these headlining any history books, right? There were no world-ending catastrophes, no massive wars, no capitals burning to the ground. But what if these were some of the most important, formative years in all of ancient history? What if the real story wasn't in the big explosions, but in what was quietly clicking into place behind the scenes? Yeah, let's get into it.
And this quote right here, it pretty much nails the big idea for our whole explainer. It's a huge shift in perspective. We're not looking for the flashy battles or the dramatic rise and fall of great leaders. Nope, we're looking for the moment the gears of empire really start to mesh, when power stops being improvised and starts becoming a system.
So, to really get a handle on these 5 years, we need to zoom out a bit. We've got to understand the world stage at the dawn of the 1st century. Who were the major players in this new age of, well, quiet, deliberate power?
First up, over in the West, you've got Rome. But listen, this is not the chaotic, endlessly expanding republic you might be thinking of. Under Emperor Augustus, it's a totally new beast. This is the man who ended generations of brutal civil war. And his focus now? It isn't just conquest anymore, it's control. He is meticulously, piece by piece, building a permanent imperial system designed to last.
Okay, now look to Rome's east and you'll find Parthia. You can think of them as the great power stuck right in the middle. They control this huge territory, Mesopotamia, and their cavalry-based empire is the crucial link, and let's be honest, sometimes the formidable barrier between the Mediterranean world and the empires of the East. In this era, their position is absolutely everything.
And speaking of the East, we have to talk about Han China. This was, and I mean this seriously, one of the most advanced administrative states on the entire planet. With its incredibly complex bureaucracy and just a massive population, the Han Dynasty had a level of sophisticated organization that, even Rome could probably only dream of. Now, what's really fascinating about this moment is that it wasn't just about these big three, not at all. All across the globe, other powers were on the rise. Down in Africa, the Kingdom of Aksum was getting very strategic, positioning itself along these vital sea trade routes. And way across the Atlantic, civilizations like the Maya and those in the Andes were developing these incredibly complex societies completely on their own terms.
So, here's the key takeaway. We're looking at an age of consolidation. This isn't about just planting a flag on a new hill anymore. It's about building the roads, collecting the taxes, standardizing the laws. It's about creating the systems that turn a temporary conquest into a permanent reality. This is how you make power last for centuries.
All right, so let's walk through this, year by year. How did these empires actually go about engineering their own stability? How did they start forging these brand new systems of control?
In the very first year, 1 AD, Augustus gives us a perfect masterclass. He knew that peace wasn't just some happy accident, it had to be a deliberate strategy. I mean, look at this. He stations his legions on the great river borders, the Rhine and the Danube, not for new wars, but to create a stable, defensible frontier. He reorganizes provinces, he standardizes taxes so the money is predictable, and he plants colonies of retired soldiers to keep everyone loyal. This is the blueprint for the famous Roman peace.
Now, at the exact same time, thousands of miles away, the Han Dynasty was facing a totally different but just as critical challenge. The empire itself was stable, sure, but its young emperor, he was basically a figurehead. Power was all about this delicate and pretty dangerous dance between powerful factions at court. So you have two great empires, both stable, but both relying on some very careful political choreography to stay that way.
Then we get to 2 AD, and the focus really shifts inward. This is the hard, unglamorous work of just running the place. It takes center stage. Rome conducts a massive census to fine-tune its tax system. It builds roads, not just for armies, but for trade and communication. It's literally transforming from a conquering force into a vast administrative machine. And all this internal strengthening, all this getting their houses in order, well, it had this profound effect on the outside world. As these empires became more stable and organized, the world itself started to become way more connected. You could almost say the arteries of global trade began to pulse with new life.
And by 3 AD, that connection is a name we all know, the Silk Road. Now, it wasn't just one road, of course. It was this complex, sprawling network of trade routes that really became the economic lifeblood of the entire Eurasian continent. For the first time, huge empires like Rome, Parthia, and Han China were bound together by a steady, reliable flow of goods. And this just brilliantly illustrates that exchange. You've got luxury silk, the ultimate status symbol in Rome, traveling thousands of miles to the west. And going in the other direction, you had this fine Roman glassware, which was prized in China. In between all that, you had everything from spices to war horses being traded, with the Parthian Empire getting very rich by controlling the flow right in the middle.
But here's the thing about stability. It can create a false sense of security. As these huge imperial systems hardened, these subtle internal cracks began to form. The very structures they were so proud of building, they contained hidden vulnerabilities.
And this right here leads to the single most dangerous question for any empire. You can build roads that last 1,000 years. You can write laws that shape entire civilizations. But an emperor, a ruler, they're mortal. So what happens when they're gone? Who comes next?
By 4 AD, that question becomes really urgent in both Rome and China. Augustus is getting old, his preferred heirs are already dead, and he has to reluctantly turn to his stepson, Tiberius. But there's no plan, there's no law for succession. It's all based on personal power and who the army likes. And in China, the situation is just as tense, with all these factions circling the powerless emperor. This is the silent threat, the possibility of total internal collapse.
And finally, in 5 AD, stability breeds a brand new danger: overconfidence. Rome, feeling secure, feeling pretty much invincible, starts pushing its legions deeper and deeper into the forests of Germania. They're trying to expand their border all the way to the Elbe River. On paper, it seems like a logical next step, manifest destiny, but it's an act of pure hubris, and it sets the stage for one of Rome's greatest military disasters just a few years down the road.
So let's pull back for a second. What did these 5 quiet years actually accomplish? When you put it all together, how did they really set the stage for the centuries that followed?
When you look at it on a timeline like this, you can see the whole narrative unfold. It all starts with a deliberate strategy for stability. That stability then allows for the creation of systems. Those systems then foster global trade. But that very success reveals the deep internal threat of succession, and it breeds the incredible danger of overconfidence. It's a complete cycle, right there in 5 years.
In the end, this is really what matters. No single dramatic event defined this period. But the foundations of the world as we know it, they were hardening. Rome cemented its imperial model. China perfected a bureaucratic system that would last for millennia. Global trade networks were forged for the first time. The world of 5 AD was just fundamentally more structured, more locked in than the world of 1 AD.